Hey, everybody, welcome back to the Modern Customer Podcast. I'm your host, Blake Morgan. Victoria Lozano is Chief Marketing Officer at Crayola. She leads all marketing and consumer engagement for the 120-year-old brand. This brand is known for creativity, emotional connection, and cultural impact. Vicky oversees communications, digital marketing, partnerships, education, the interactive app portfolio, and much more. Previously, she served as the vice president of marketing at Cadbury North America, managing the $1.2 billion gum and mints portfolio, and she's held marketing roles at Miller Brewing, Pfizer, and more. Victoria earned both her MBA and bachelor's from New York University. Today, we're talking about the CMO role in building a future forward customer experience when you are selling the incredible Crayola products that Vicky sells. Please enjoy Victoria Lozano. Vicky, welcome to the Modern Customer Podcast. Are you in Pennsylvania today?
I am. Thanks for having me today, Blake.
I am so excited for you to be here. Crayola is such an amazing brand, and my own kids are little artists, age 5 and 8. So your product is very popular in my house. And I'm just really excited to talk to you today about marketing and customer experience.
Well, likewise, again, thanks so much for having me, and I'm really excited. Looking forward to our conversation.
Well, you have been at Crayola a really long time, but prior to
Mhm.
that, you also held relevant roles to this podcast, including being at Cadbury and then Pfizer as a brand manager. I think for people that aren't familiar with the cross section of brand marketing and CX, I know that's a tough question to start with, but like in your view, why do these three areas meld together?
Well, I think it's they meld together because from a consumer point of view, it is all part of the interaction, the touch points, and the experience that the consumer has with your brand, what they know about it, what they believe about it, what attitudes they have about it, and how they experience it. So I think it is really part of that entire ecosystem that we need to be thinking about holistically.
Crayola is an interesting brand because, in a way, a crayon is a commodity, but people associate your brand with all crayons. So, like, how do you maintain that dominant brand position over so many years and continuing to be in the thoughts and hearts and minds of the customer when they think of the commodity?
Well, I would say, it is absolutely true that the crayon is our single most iconic product. That our brand is known for, but it is so much more than just a crayon. It is a very special product, but it's really about it is most often actually associated with the word childhood, and it is all about the emotional connection. It's about the nostalgia, but it's also about the unleashing of your creative exploration. And what's interesting is that, while I think most people, well, all people experience as children, and most people will sometimes associate it with childhood, but it is really part of how we as people learn and kind of to unleash and to nurture our creativity, but also how that transforms into creativity and creative behaviors that we have as adults. And so I think to say that this one little product can have such an incredible impact, not only in impacting the our experience, collective experience of our childhoods, but also laying down some of the foundation for how creativity shows up in our life as adults in terms of critical thinking, creative thinking, problem solving. I just think it's an incredibly powerful role to play, and that's what this brand really stands for, and the meaning it has for people everywhere.
From an e-commerce and a technology perspective, you've been at Crayola a really long time from the beginning when we weren't really even using social and technology and AI to today. What is the biggest change in how you approach your role now that we have so much incredible technology to enhance the
Mhm.
customer experience?
Well, I think it is around, it is a lot more fragmented than it used to be, 10, 15, 20 years ago, but it's also a lot more personalized, both in how we as a brand go to market and how we communicate and reach our consumers, but also how consumers, whether it's kids, whether it's parents, whether it's educators, is how they choose to engage with our brand. There's a lot more kind of selection, more personalization, more ability to find the things that really you care about and that you're interested in. So I think being able to find that great intersection around what it is that we're trying to accomplish as a brand and as a business, but also what consumers really care about, and having that core insights right at the heart of how we go to market and how we manage not only our brand and our voice across all of those touch points, but also our marketing budgets and our activation plans and all of that in order to make sure that that change in how in the consumer behavior and digital behaviors and sort of consumption preferences, whether it's content or product consumption preferences, all of that is truly reflected in the way that this brand shows up in the marketplace.
So let's switch gears and talk about insight driven personalization. There's a study that from the Ad Council that says 91% of parents use color to influence their child's mood and mental state. I'm a parent with two little kids I mentioned earlier, and you're really a business to parent to child type of retailer. So can you just talk about how you handle insight driven personalization and how you garner those insights?
Absolutely. Well, I think insights is just such a simple concept, and it's sort of in principle has been around forever. But how you gather those insights and how you use those insights has certainly have evolved, and it's always stayed at the core of we really need to understand what folks are going through, what matters, how to reach them, how to talk to them, and also how to make sure that what we are saying is truly relevant and helpful. And the one specific research that you just mentioned is really around the role of color. I bet if you asked your kids around what their favorite colors are, I would get an answer like this. And in fact, it probably would be accompanied with a smile. And in that particular case, because color is so incredibly emotional, right? It's personal, it's emotional, it's sort of it helps us think about key moments in our lives or how we use color in order to sort of reflect it in our lives. And those are again some of the key insights that in this example, this study has really helped us bring to bear, because we want to be able to have a conversation with consumers that is truly compelling and meaningful. And this year we're doing a whole lot around Crayola's color equity, and messaging around how color inspires creativity, and it is all based on those core insights that really delve into what matters to consumers, how we could be truly relevant and compelling, and how we take some of those key insights and truly turn it into a meaningful brand activation and an advocacy platform that makes a difference,
Mhm.
for what we stand for, but also in terms of our consumers' lives.
When I think of your product, I think of how accessible it is to customers. Like, do you see it on
Hmm.
Amazon? Is it in Target? Is it in the bookstore, at the airport? Like the product placement,
Hmm.
very much an in-person experience. How much of the in-person experience of the product, how much is that part of your role?
I think it's, the physical experience with the product is obviously core to what, who we are and what we've always done. But we actually like to think of our business as a combination of products, experiences, and content. So the products that we make and where you're able to buy them and experience them has always been, a core part of who we are. But if you think about content, whether it's content we do on social, whether it's content and how we really embed creativity as a way of teaching and learning in the classroom, within the education and the learning context, whether it's Crayola Studios and what we do in entertainment content and how we advocate and kind of showcase creativity, All of those are really, part of those brand touch points that I mentioned. And then on the experience side, whether it's, in our interactive business with a portfolio of apps, because, why should creativity be only, tangible? Why can't digital be the canvas for your creativity? And how can we create different types of opportunities and experiences there? Or whether it's location based entertainment with gated attractions and experiential retail stores, all of that is part of that curated experience. And I think, again, thinking about it as product experiences and content enables us to create a much richer experience that goes even farther beyond, the physical product, or in addition to the physical product that, as you said, is available pretty much, in stores everywhere.
Yeah, it makes sense that you start with this incredible commodity that is in the hearts of and minds of almost everyone on the planet knows what a crayon is and knows Crayola is associated with crayon. And then you build out, you create, like you said, content, entertainment, apps, experiences all around your core values and your core mission of creativity. So, how
Mhm.
much technology are you leaning into and how fast, and how do you measure that success?
Sure. Well, Blake, if I may, I would say I think commodities is a little bit of a tricky word, because I think the strength and the power of the brand and the kind of equity and the kind of brand loyalty and preference this brand has, I would say we're not, we're very common and well recognized product, but I would not call us a commodity by any means. And I do think that those additional experiences absolutely add to this ability to experience and have relationship and meaningful connection to the brand across those different things. When you think about, the digital part of our portfolio, our key app, Crayola Create and Play, has actually been within the top five and most often number one kids app in the Apple Arcade, as an example. And it's just a reflection of incredible breadth and depth and quality of the experience, because the play value, the number of kids that play, how long they play, how many times they come back is just incredible. So our ability to take this brand and take it into new spaces and diversify into different types of creative experiences, and really all the different ways that creativity can show up and be delivered, it's really just a testament to the power of this brand and the fact that we're not just one thing. We could definitely capture those consumer moments, use the insights, and capture those moments to create a much bigger ecosystem for creativity, on behalf of creativity, if I may, for the Crayola brand.
Absolutely. I love that. Let's talk about future trends in experience design, Vicky. Let's talk about how you are shaping tomorrow's customer expectations and how you plan to lead that. Talk about experience design and what that means to you first, and then we could look to the future of how you're working on that.
Absolutely. Well, I think to us, it's about really pushing the boundaries on how we define experience and all the different ways that we could potentially bring that to life. And again, whether it's within our digital, interactive business, whether it's within location based entertainment, whether it's an accompaniment to our products, all of that is part of what we're absolutely gonna look at. And I think one of the ways that we sort of look at the business is, very specific focus on diversification and an ability to not only create and take a leadership voice in our category and really drive the engagement and purchase frequency and usage frequency for the category, but also expanding into some new spaces that allow the brand to come to life. I think that's the kind of, experience that we're looking to lead and to create in order to deliver on it.
Well, I love your product. My kids are so creative. My daughter's at art camp today. My son is at STEM camp, but both of them are using your product, which I think is just so wonderful. And my mom's an artist and an art teacher, so we have so much to talk about. Let's talk about some future plans before we get to know you a little bit better. Like, as the chief marketing officer of this amazing, iconic brand, what's exciting for you on the horizon? What are you working on? What's on your desk right now as we look toward the future?
Yeah. Well, if I may just comment on what you just said, I love hearing first of all that you kids enjoy, creativity and creative experiences. I think kids just have that as an innate ability, right? And if we just give them the right kind of encouragement and freedom to bring their creativity to life, I think is just so incredibly inspiring and powerful. But I also love hearing that creativity seems to be generational in your family. And that's actually, frankly, what's a really interesting for the brand as well, where there's so much, already conversation, obviously awareness of Crayola as a brand and what we do for children, whether it be at home with the parents and advocating for more creative moments, whether it be in the classroom. But what's really interesting and what isn't sometimes as well known or recognized is that a significant portion of purchases, for example, for last year for our brand actually took place in households without any kids present. And we know that a significant portion of them came from adults buying it for themselves.
Mm,
So, whether it is around nurturing creativity in kids or whether it's around using creativity and kind of your creative exploration as sort of rediscovering that creative energy and that creative superpower where you didn't so much worry about the judgment and doing it for the productive output, and you just really did it for the joy of doing it. I think that's an incredible power of the brand and the future opportunity for us, because it is that consumption, those trends, those insights are there. And I
mhm,
think a lot of the work that we're doing now is really around how do we continue to really advocate and push for what we do for kids and on behalf of kids, while also recognizing that there's a very distinct and meaningful opportunity, because it's already happening, of adults using it for themselves. And the work that we do as a chief marketing officer, what I'm really passionate about is our campaign for creativity that we launched last year, that really focuses and talks about how we change some of the societal perception and conversation and myths around what creativity is, and how we really reframe it as a life skill, which it is, and how we really encourage this creative exploration in kids, in adults. And we really talk about color as one of the key things that enables it. You mentioned a statistic earlier. Color truly inspires creativity. It engages us. It brings us into it. And I think for us as a brand, as we look forward, is really leaning into the color and the way that Crayola sort of curates the emotion associated with color, advocating for creativity as a bigger force, as a bigger important, aspect of our lives, nurturing it to help kids reach their full potential, and leaning into it with adults to help them really lead a more fulfilled life, because they are using it as a means of sort of recapturing some of that positive energy and joy, and looking at combination of all of those things of creating meaningful business growth opportunities for our brand and for our business. If as we bring all of those things together, you mentioned, Crayola is just such an incredible brand, around for 122 years old, but at the same time, still lots of room to go and a lot of opportunities to pursue, with some of these things that I just mentioned.
well, I love that, and I think you're on the right track, and I'm cheering you on. So I'm really happy for your success and continued success as you continue to grow the brand and evolve what creativity means. Let's get to know you a little bit, Vicky. Are you game for
Mhm.
some quick questions and some quick answers?
Absolutely.
Okay. Let's go. All right, rapid fire. Firstly, what's the most important part of your morning routine?
Coffee.
That was really quick. That was so quick. Too quick for me. No. What do you do to relax at the end of a hectic day?
Usually I just want to be able to have a moment of peace. I do enjoy reading for the opportunity to decompress.
I'm in a book club myself, so I can relate. What show are you currently streaming?
None.
No TV. Okay.
No to
Good
me.
answer.
I admit that we have a tradition that actually started with COVID, where we do family movie and show nights. So we pick as a family. I have three kids, a little bit older, and we find a show that we all like, and we actually watch it together. It just so happens that we just finished a show, and we're in the process of picking a new one. But for me personally, it's actually part of our family tradition and kind of a bonding routine, where all of us get to do it.
We just did that with the Back to the Future series, so totally. Maybe you can
See,
check that
I
one.
love that. I love that.
What's your idea of perfect happiness?
um, I think perfect happiness is just being happy with where you are and what you're doing.
Mhm.
And I think that's a very personalized choice around how you define it. But I think for me, if you could live without those regrets, and right, wrong, or indifferent, feel like what you're doing matters and you're in the good place and you've been able to accomplish a lot, whether it's professional, whether it's with your family. I think to me, that's the ultimate definition of I feel good about where I am and happy.
Mhm. Okay. What is your favorite type of vacation?
Definitely beach.
If you could have lunch with anyone dead or alive, who would it be?
Um, I don't know.
That's fine. That's a good answer. And,
I don't know.
if you had to describe your outlook in one quick motto, what would it be?
Excited.
Love it. Well, you really achieved 100% success on rapid fire because I don't think anyone has responded that rapidly, but you really took the rules of the game very
I
seriously.
I guess you could say I understood the assignment.
You understood the assignment and you aced it. Well, this has been so fun, Vicky. I really appreciate you coming here. Usually, I have more customer focused executives on the show, so it's really refreshing to have a marketing officer on the show. And I'm really honored that you stopped by. And hopefully, you'll come back and share more of the creative success that you're having over at Crayola.
I would love that. Thank you so much, Blake.
All right, everybody, you've been tuning into the Modern Customer Podcast. Until next time. Thanks for watching. Please don't forget to like or subscribe and follow my social content on other platforms where I post content daily, including X, Instagram, LinkedIn, TikTok, and more.